When someone is looking for an apartment, they're looking at the location, the apartment layout, and the amenities. Well, apartment hunters in the Daytona Beach area now have one more amenity to look for, and that's buildings that are smoke-free. Russell Bryant is the president of Continental Property Services. When he was approached by the Florida Department of Health's tobacco prevention program about converting some of his buildings to smoke-free, he was not quite sure it was the right thing for his company to do.
We knew there would be a large percentage of our residents that would like to continue smoking. So it was not such an easy decision to start looking into implementing smoke-free buildings.
Bryant did his research. He started by meeting with all 7 of his property managers. He says all of them were a bit nervous. They held a lot of meetings to mull it over. In the end, they felt it was something they should try.
I looked at it as a win-win on anything that could be in a positive direction, meaning that we can get some smoke-free buildings. At the same token, if some people would say, well, I do like to smoke, but I don't want to move, I'll stay in my smoke-free building, and this may be my opportunity to try to quit smoking.
The complex has rolled it out slowly to ensure smoking tenants who were living in the newly converted non-smoking buildings had the opportunity to move to another building when their lease expired, or they could choose to stay if they wanted to give up smoking or at least agree to only smoke outside. Well, as of December 2020, a little over a year after implementation, about 25% of those buildings, or 25% of the company's 1,331 units, are now smoke-free. And those managers who were tentative in the beginning, well, they are not so tentative anymore.
Everyone's on board. There's no property that is has second-guessed it. We're going to continue doing it, and we hope we can get closer to that 100% mark one day. But we do know that there are people that have the need, and we're going to offer them housing also.
John Tosi works with housing managers to help them convert units to non-smoking housing. He said the main concern he hears from managers is the controversy they think could come with making a change.
The enforcement aspect, how that's going to happen, are they going to be getting in negative interactions with the residents? But they realize that you just kind of enforce this the way you do excess trash or glass by the pool or something like that. There's mechanisms in place for it.
Bryant understands the concern about enforcement, but his experience across all 7 of his properties tells him otherwise.
So far, I have not heard of issues with enforcement. I think that because they have the option, it's not being forced upon them. We do ask them that they sign a non-smoking addendum. So that addendum does state that if you do smoke in a non-smoking building, you are in violation of the lease. And we do have the right to ask you to stop, or we will ask you to leave.
When Tosi meets with a new apartment manager, he explains the health reasons behind the need to be smoke-free. There is no known safe level of exposure to secondhand smoke, and that's a concern for people with heart and lung issues. Add to that secondhand smoke is considered a Class A human carcinogen.
There is up to 65% air travel between units. Other people in other units who may have asthma or COPD, they could be affected by, smoke in apartment A, getting into apartment B. So this is something that a lot of residents really enjoy. It's a benefit for them. They're looking for this, and we found it to be something that people are searching out and seeking for.
It's not just the health benefits either. The health department is a resource to help with the transition, including policy language for the managers and resources to help residents quit smoking. If managers do implement smoke-free housing, those managers can benefit too by noticing a change in their bottom line.
That should come down the road as we have what we label turns in this industry. As residents move out and new ones move in, we do expect to have a decrease in our cost just for the fact that non-smokers typically leave an apartment a bit cleaner than the smokers due to the odors and the the smells that are in the carpeting and so forth that would have to get extra cleaning.
Tosi says apartment managers need to look at offering smoke-free housing as an amenity, that extra something that people are looking for. As far as Bryant and his properties go, it's an amenity that's drawing in tenants.
The easiest way to tell how well it's working is vacancy. And we have equal vacancy in our smoking buildings and our non-smoking buildings, which tells us that we are fulfilling the requirements of our prospects. And they are asking for that opportunity to be in a non-smoking building.
And if you don't take Bryant's word for it, just ask Tangela Williams. She's a resident in one of the smoke-free properties. She has some advice for other properties who hear about the opportunity to convert some units to smoke-free housing.
They should take it into consideration, because you're respecting those who smoke and those who don't smoke. So you're giving them an option, an alternative, rather to smoke, be in a non-smoking building or to a smoking building. So they have the alternative, so that way they won't feel, the smoker don't feel like they're the bad guys because they smoke.
If you would like more information on smoke-free housing, contact the Florida Department of Health or log on to our website. The address is volusiahealth.com/tobacco. That's volusiahealth.com/tobacco. For the Florida Department of Health right here in Volusia County, I'm Dr. Holly Smith.